Hello, good morning. I think I'm live. Kitchen adventures. I've actually managed to cook a few things that came out edible. And I'm pretty good at making a pot of chili, Chicago style with cinnamon in it. But frankly, even with that, I've had some failures. Uh, However, recently a good giveaway included a big bag of yams. These are yams. So rather than open my can of yams, now it isn't a sweet potato because sweet potatoes are yellow inside. It's a yam, which is a variety of sweet potato, and it's orange inside. Yams in places like Africa are more like a potato, not so sweet. Okay, good old Google. Yam is the common name for some plant species in the genus Dioscorea that form edible tubers. Blah, blah, blah. Sweet potatoes are almost always sweeter than yams, according to NC Sweet Potatoes. But sweet potatoes are lower in calories and higher in beta carotene. Now, is a yam a potato? Often, the copper-skinned sweet potato is referred to as yam or sweet potato yam. They're firmer than sweet potatoes. So this is a sweet potato known as a yam, copper-skinned and orange inside. The yams that really are yams, like in Africa, are more like potatoes, but they're quite similar. Anyway, I had never cooked an actual yam before because yams come in cans, already cooked and sweetened and yummy. Just add cinnamon, heat it up, you're good to go. And if they aren't sweet enough, a little brown sugar will help. But I wasn't going to waste a big bag of these, so first I tried to peel one. Wasn't going to happen. So I popped it in a pot of boiling water and let it simmer for an hour. Now I'm on the mountain, so at around 5,000 feet, water doesn't boil at as high a temperature. It boils at a lower temperature. So if you're down near sea level, you probably won't need a whole hour. And yes, I could have put a lid on the pan or used a pressure cooker to put it at the 15 pounds per square inch. Didn't feel like it, so I waited an hour. Poured off the hot water, poured in cold water, got them cool enough to handle, and peeled the yam. Actually, I had two yams, a little smaller than this one. Okay, but the yams were not fully cooked, and that's okay. I put them in a glass baking pan, bread loaf size, about 9 inches by 4 or 5, and kind of deep, with a little butter and a little brown sugar and a dash of salt. Cook them at 350 for another hour, just to make darn sure they were cooked. And this is what I got. Well, I mashed them up a little, of course. And hey, their texture is a little more interesting than a canned yam. The flavor is a little better, but really, for the work involved, I'll stick with canned yams in the future. But now I know I can process and cook, eat these yams and not let them go to waste, so maybe I'll plant some in the garden. For yams, according to the experts, I am not one. You just put the whole thing and bury it under a couple inches of dirt, maybe 3 or 4 inches, and let it go. So I'll see if they'll grow in my raised garden when springtime comes. Oh, Tim, no nuked food. The microwave is for reheating coffee. I have one, but it's basically because some of the frozen dinners that I like are microwave only. But I'm weaning myself off of those. I also got a huge thing of Mandarin oranges. They're kind of tangerines and kind of not as sweet, and the peel isn't as loose. The skin is harder to get off. I have not been able to find tangerines for ages, years. I'd like to know what somebody did to them. They were traditional at Christmas. And now you have to get sweeties or cuties or Mandarin oranges. Not the same thing. Hmm. Okay. This is the soup pot that I used to boil the yams. And yesterday, I had a really amazing adventure. Now, I had a craving for fish and chips, but the other day when I had a ride, I just got too worn out shopping for a few groceries to deal with going up to get takeout from a restaurant. I just wanted a nap. I get tired very easily now. So I checked out my freezer yesterday, and lo and behold, I had some frozen battered cod. Well, that's the fish part, and I just baked them. I'm not into deep fat frying all that much because I don't want to burn down my kitchen. So, for French fries, chips if you're in England, fish and chips, I had a potato and a plan. What was I going to grab? Oh, you guys know what a potato looks like. I tried the fancy mandolin thing that I got from Amazon. It wasn't making what the picture showed. It was just slicing my potato. So I said to heck with that and got a good kitchen knife and sliced the potato into pretty much French fry shapes. You need them a little bigger than the finished product because potatoes contain a lot of water and it cooks out. So anyway, sliced it up, left the peel on, and just cut off the ends, but I left the rest of the peel on it. You coddle your cod, Oswald. Okay. Coddling, by the way, is what you do with an egg when you simmer it in water. It's kind of like poached, but kind of more complicated than that. So anyway, then came to cooking fries. Now once again, I'm not into deep fat frying. I'm afraid I'll burn down my kitchen. But fries can't just be baked. I know there's YouTube videos all over the place with baked fries or chips. Well, I wasn't going to settle for that. So I took my soup pot. This thing is so versatile. You can caramelize your onions, all kinds of things with this, and make soup. The other day, well, let's finish the French fries. I put in about 1 inch of cooking oil, made sure I had a fire extinguisher handy, and heated the oil about 1 inch deep in the bottom of the pot. Carefully, when I thought it was hot enough, the way I test it is get a little water on my fingers and sprinkle, and if the water sizzles and evaporates, the oil's hot enough. Yes, I have a thermometer, a kitchen thermometer somewhere. Can't find it. So anyway, I carefully laid in the strips of potato, and they mostly boiled because potatoes are full of water. Here and there, I took the kitchen tongs and turned them over, and they seemed to be cooking nicely, but they weren't brown. And rather than turn up the heat and risk a kitchen fire, because I'm good at doing things wrong, I turned off the heat, used the tongs to put the potato strips in a bowl with a paper towel to soak up the oil. And when the oil drained off, I put them in a little baking dish and baked for about 10 minutes at 450. They came out perfect. Golden around the edges, not so golden in the middle of the outside of the strip, but just the right texture and flavor. Oh, and of course I sprinkled salt on them and tossed them a little to make the salt get onto all of them. Yes, language is fascinating. Anyway, the cod I just baked according to the instructions on the package. You don't think I breaded the cod, although I probably could now, ever since my orange chicken adventure, in which I watched about a dozen YouTube videos and made my own sauce from scratch and made a batter. And what I did was I took chunks of chicken that was already cooked and coated them in the batter and did this same adventure, 1 inch of oil in the bottom of the pot. I don't have a wok. And once again, I'm afraid of kitchen fires. The only kitchen fire I ever had was from a toaster that didn't pop up. And I forgot about it until I smelled smoke. It was kind of under the toaster was kind of under a wooden kitchen cupboard. Yeah. Anyway, no nuclear food if I can avoid it. No microwave. I've discovered too that You don't put bread of any sort in the microwave. It comes out, it feels okay when you take it out, but as soon as it cools off, it's like concrete because all the water evaporates. That's how microwaves work. They excite the water molecules, and your food basically steams in a microwave. Anyway, if I want to heat up a dinner roll, I put it in either a toaster oven or I don't know where I put my toaster oven, but my electric roaster is on the hearth where it can't set the house on fire because it's on a brick hearth next to an cast iron wood stove. And I'm not using the wood stove yet. Still looking for someone to clean the chimney. It hasn't been done in at least 10 years. So, anyway, I also had a couple bananas that were much riper than I like them. I like my bananas just green. So, I made banana bread. Let's show it to you. It's easy with Bisquick, but I recommend the generic brand of Bisquick because it has the banana bread recipe printed on the box. Anyway, it's a bread, a quick bread, no yeast. Yeah, the bottom stuck to the pan. Oh well. Now, things that the recipe don't tell you include spices. Oh, and raisins. I was going to put in chopped dates, but chopping dates isn't easy. So I threw in raisins. If you're in Europe, I don't mean grapes, I mean dried raisins. In Europe, apparently raisin just means grape. And I finally discovered what currants are. They're just little raisins made from dried little grapes. And there's a couple different varieties. I just get raisins. There isn't much difference in flavor. So anyway, I put in cinnamon, of course, and ginger, and a little nutmeg. I'm loving nutmeg lately. You can put it in anything, even savory dishes. Just a little dash of nutmeg in a pot of soup. You don't taste the nutmeg, but it brings up the flavors in your soup or stew. Amazing. So there's my kitchen adventures. Uh, wow. I would say I had a toothache, but I don't have any teeth, so it must be sinus. Anyway, nutmeg with honey and milk in coffee. I like to add nutmeg to eggnog, although most commercial varieties now come with the nutmeg in it. Oh, Circle K, I don't have trouble digesting bananas, but if it's too ripe, I can't swallow it. It just is gagging me. So, anyway, yes, I'm planning to write a sequel to my see cookbook for the Kitchen Challenged by the Kitchen Challenged. And I think I'll call it Kitchen Adventures. But I need more recipes, so I'll be trying to cook something edible for quite some time. I tried to make Grandma's Christmas cookies. They were really grandma's Christmas cookies, but I ended up with shortbread, which is okay. And I can put a shortbread cookie recipe into the book. I'm not recipe in. I still have nightmares about kitchen fires. If you want to make your own, I recommend you watch tons of videos and maybe settle for just baking them or going to a fast food joint and ordering fries. Don't get McDonald's. They're god awful. I It's because they fry them in beef fat. And sometimes they add a little broth to the oil. Well, see you later, Oswald. Glad you caught me while I was still here. But I've got to show you my newest publication. I have a story in an anthology, so let me go grab it. Ah, evil me, don't do that to me. Oh, criminy, crikey. Come on. My trick knee almost caused a crash. It just wasn't going to hold me up. And that's on the supposedly good side. My other leg is the one that broke. Here we go. Mirror Maze is officially launched today. And I have a story in here. It has 29 stories all told. And mine is on page 237. Some people have pre-ordered it. Here we go. The mirror cracked. See? It's in there. Ah, Mirror Maze. It's available on Amazon, but there's another, there's a better link that I can send you where you don't have to go to Amazon. I just have to find it. Messenger. It's in a Facebook message. Now, the way these things, I just copy the Facebook link, it'll be all messed up. So I will have to open the page, and even there it's a huge long link. Let's see if YouTube will accept a link that's that long. Probably not. Oh, it did. Now this is just one author's announcement. Let's see if I can find. Here we go. Here's the main page. Some people have pre-ordered the book, so it should be shipped out today. And now it's officially launched. You can go to Goodreads and leave a review. You can buy it on Amazon and review it. And here's where you can buy the book at Fractured Mirror Publishing. Okay, I'll type buy the book. Come on. There, here we go. That's enough fiddling around. Mirror Maze is published by Fractured Mirror. Oh, edited by Cliff Jones Jr. Okay, so it's Mirror Maze published by Fractured Mirror, and my story is The Mirror Cracked. And the odd thing about it is, the really eerie, strange thing is, I wrote this book over a period of, I don't know, days, weeks, maybe even months. I submitted it to the editor on the 4th of March, 2020. My story is about a plague that kills everybody. And on March 11th, a week later, the COVID epidemic was announced. Putting the book away. Come on, you evil thing, quit fighting me. Well, gee, I'm going to get some more light in here. This happened last week too. The image on the screen is all foggy. Anyway, how did I know so unconsciously that we were about to experience an epidemic? Got all kinds of light going on, and it doesn't look smoky to me when I look away from the computer, but it looks smoky on the computer, which is weird. Oh gosh, I'm really not well today. I need to reheat my yams and put things away, maybe eat some banana bread and Mandarin oranges. I don't know, but I hope I'm wrong right now, but it sure feels like earthquake weather. It isn't. That is weird. My picture's getting worse, not better. Let me see. I'm going to try wiping the screen. Maybe my screen is dirty. Nope, that ain't it. Tip the camera down. It's built into the laptop. It's a ghost. Whatever it is, I don't like it. No. It's weird. It's only on the screen. Here, I'll tip the camera up. That's better. What's a ghost? No, it's the weird light coming in from outside. I think I need to wash the windows, but it's still going to be cloudy and overcast. Yeah, well, tipping it down might work, but you're going to be looking at my keyboard. Weird. Let me see. No, it isn't. Ooh, look at the pretties. The pretty rays of light reflecting. It's that stinking window. I have an idea. Aha! When I shield the camera from that window, it's perfect. It's that window. Well, you see, the cat has pulled down the shade. She's good at shredding things. So that's what it is. Anyway, I like the pretties. The pretties. Okay, so for next week's show, I'll work on dealing with that window or turning the desk around. Here we go. How's that? That's better. Yeah, have sun. It's a strange winter, and I think it feels like earthquake weather. It's cold enough, but it's dry. Huh. We're just not getting rain or snow. Even when we got a little snow, it melted right away because there wasn't much of it. Yeah, I'm staying all hydrated. Sorry about your hands, Tim. I'm just, um, the dry, cold weather. It isn't so much the cold as the dry. And I think it's probably time to let the cats out. They're indoor, outdoor, and I try to keep them in as much as possible, but they do escape from time to time, so there's no point in keeping them prisoner. Besides, they don't use the litter box as much when they are allowed outside. Reminds me of Smokey. Smokey's in kitty heaven. But I was planting tomatoes, and I went ahead and bought little tomato plants, and I dug little holes in the garden and planted them, and I kept finding the tomato plants pulled out of the holes. And one day I caught Smokey, my big gray cat, pulling a tomato plant out of the hole so she could go potty in the hole. So it was time for Plan B on planting tomatoes. There was no way I was going to change Smokey's behavior. Well, yeah. Now, I did lose, one summer, I did lose two cats to rattlesnakes. But it's like I feel about my own health and safety. Do I want a short, happy life or a long, miserable life? There's more of my books and such. Ah, I'm trying to keep the image decent without having to climb up and tack up the shade onto the window again. Maybe by next week I'll have the desk turned around so it faces a wall instead of a window. Ah, we'll see. Oh man. Well, I've covered my kitchen challenges or adventures. I've covered my, the new book. I'm working on my exegesis about Philip K. Dick's visions and such, and it just isn't going to be finished by Christmas. Partly because some helpful people thought they would had the right to clean up my house without asking me while I was out with my broken hip. I said, I'm coming home. Oh my God! Then they spent 2 whole days messing up everything, and I still can't find some of the books and documents that I was using for research because they are not where I put them. I found some of the documents in a box of photographs and postcards, and that box did not exist before. I had photographs in 2 boxes sorted by, family photos, field trip photos, college photos, and I had the photographs separate because I was selling them on eBay. And then I had photographs that I was not selling in with my stationery, which was dumped out so someone could fill that box with rocks. I had my rock collection sorted into small boxes of this kind of rock, that kind of rock, my grandfather's rocks, my rocks, collectible rocks. But they did not belong in the shoebox where I keep my stationery and postcards. And postage, by the way. Well, anyway, I am going to rant and rave every day for 1,000,000 years because I had my stuff sorted. I spent weeks and months sorting my stuff, and it's all mixed up again because somebody thought they'd be helpful. And they didn't ask my permission because they know I would have said no, don't touch anything. And I'm not supposed to be angry because they wanted to help me. Like I might have tripped over things. Well, excuse me, but I don't trip over things that are under the furniture, or on top of the furniture, or behind the furniture. And my big, gigantic, ancient television set that's super heavy, I had paid a guy to move it away from the wall so I could use it without setting my coat on fire. The coat rack is on that wall. And so I could walk up to my window, my south-facing window, without climbing on the hearth. I actually paid a guy to move it, and they shoved the TV back up against the wall. So now I can't use the TV because it'll set my coat on fire, and I have to climb on the hearth to get to my window where I was growing potted plants, but because I'm not too good at climbing up on the hearth with a broken hip, I had to choose a different window, and the west facing window is not working out well. My plants are dying because it's too cold there and they don't get enough sun. So I'm screwed. I'm going to have to start climbing up on the hearth again and pull out the box of crap that they shoved into that window and put my plants there where they belong, and then risk my life climbing up on the hearth to water them. Yes, I'm going to rant for another hour, but not necessarily on YouTube. I'll just yell to the cats on the ceiling. I asked where those things are. Some things were actually thrown in the trash. The gal said, oh, the cat peed on those boxes. I don't care if the cat did pee on the boxes, but the truth is I spilled my coffee on them. She had no business throwing them out, and apparently she didn't just put the stuff in a different box, she threw out the stuff as well, which included some of my financial records. and probably included cash. But because she thought the box was peed on, she just sent the whole thing to the dump in the back of a pickup truck. And my brown paper bag that had it had some papers in it, but it also had some seeds I had collected, heirloom seeds. Gone. No cat peed on that paper bag. I'm wanting to cuss, but stopping myself. And they decided that, my little desk was too wobbly. So rather than let me fix it myself, or at least wait till I was here, they just turned it upside down. So everything that was in my desk drawer fell out. And I can't find any of those things. They don't know where they put them, and the odds are they threw out paper clips, safety pins, my good diamond nail file, candies, coins. I had money in this drawer. And they filled up the drawer with a bunch of felt pens and crap that I had put aside in a little round pot because I don't use them very often. I put them in a little round ceramic cylinder-shaped pot out of the way underneath a table where I knew where they were. I could find them if I needed them. And they were pulled out and shoved into my drawer where they don't belong, because this drawer is for things that I use every day, so that when I'm sitting at my computer, I open the drawer and pull it out, and there it is. Not anymore. If they threw out my grandmother's diamond nail file that I've kept since she died in 1980, I'm going to kill something. I'm going to get a nice big target and a shotgun and kill that inanimate object because I'm that angry. I'm missing books and documents and photographs and things I had packed up in 2 boxes that were things to sell on eBay. Had to take down the listings because I can't sell something that I can't find. And I'm still angry because I keep finding things like when I made the French fries, I needed my good kitchen tongs. They turned up outside in the dirt, next to my fireplace tools, which also don't belong outside in the dirt. And then I went to use my food processor. I wanted to chop something real fine. Some of the pieces were missing. There's this square of styrofoam that fits down into the bottom of the box and holds some of the parts to my food processor. And it's kind of important to have all the parts. Well, someone decided to throw out that piece of styrofoam because the box lid wouldn't close. As if closing the lid were more important than having all the parts so the appliance works. I finally found that styrofoam thing with the parts inside an empty box in the middle of a stack of empty boxes. Yes, I'm angry. But I'm not supposed to be angry because they were helping me. They were helping themselves. They don't like the way I organize my things, and it's none of their business. One of them actually accused me of hallucinating the things I said were missing. I don't think you even had those things. Well, both my 2 smoke alarms disappeared. You know, one for the bedroom, one for the living room. Never put it too near the kitchen because if I boil water, the darn thing goes off. Anyway, I found one of them in the window with my potted plants. When I was finally brave enough and able to climb on the hearth and look in the window and water my plants, the other one has never turned up. But I did finally find the pack of batteries I bought to replace the batteries in my smoke alarms, which I do every Labor Day. Just can't find the things to put the batteries into. I did not hallucinate owning smoke alarms and nail files and nail clippers and documents and cash. I learned from my family you hide your cash in places where nobody will ever look. Like in a stack of papers inside a box that looks like the cat peed on it. I'll never do that again. Some helpful person might decide to throw it in the trash when I'm not looking. I found some of my documents. And I know they were just being nosy because they pulled out all these little award thingies from where I stored them in a nice plastic crate where they were safe. Actually, 2 different crates. And some were in a cardboard box. And put them all out on display, including one that was just a greeting card from my family when I graduated at junior college. I don't display these little plaques and thingies. At the moment, I do have my diploma for my master's degree sitting out, but that's primarily because it's too big for a cardboard box with all the other things. Somebody filled up the plastic crate with some other kind of junk long in it after taking everything out of it. Kind of like the rocks in my shoebox where I keep my postage, stationery, and postcards. And I'm still looking for some of my stamp collection, which included first day covers and very old penny postcards. They aren't super valuable, but they mean a lot to me. They're mementos. I'm still looking for some of the books that belong to Phil. I had them all together in a bookcase. They even moved those. All my books are a mixed up, jumbled mess. And they took my books that I packed up in a box, books that I wrote, and put them in the bookcases. Why? If I want to display the books I've written, I'll put them on Facebook or eBay. The things that I display say more about me than just what I've done. They reflect a whole family history and friends I've known. Some I still know, some have died. And I'm still searching for the books that I was going to either sell or donate. I finally the two most important books, which are for Walter Bosley. They'll add to his research. Of course, with both of us having health issues, it'll be a while before I see him, but oh, and we're in lockdown in California. Now, I've said in the past, wearing a mask isn't a big deal to me, but I should add that masks don't work. The science shows that they really don't work. They're just a strategy to make people feel good. Their government is doing something for them. Them wear masks to keep them safe. There's no such thing as safe. No such thing. Phil used to tell the story of an old lady who had kittens, and she was always worried that something terrible would happen to her kittens. And she fussed and fretted and thought of different ways to keep them safe. And she finally figured out a way that those kittens would always be safe. And a visitor that she was explaining this to looked into the bottom of the well, and there were the kittens, all dead in the bottom of the well, completely safe. Now, my strategy for some security has always been to leave the door unlocked when I'm not home. They don't have to break a window or bash in the door to get inside and see that there's nothing to steal. Oh, believe me, the computer either goes with me or ends up someplace where no one will ever find it, except me. And sometimes I jokingly or half jokingly post on Facebook, I'm going out. All burglars, please leave a donation on the kitchen table. I thought at least my books were safe from burglars. As near as I can tell, they aren't missing, they just aren't where they belong. And I still have to sort out the ones I'm donating, the ones I'm selling, and the ones that belong together. That's why they were together. And some of them are quite fragile and don't belong out on the bookshelves with books that I pull out and read from time to time. They belong in safe places where they won't be handled because they're old and fragile. And some idiot decided that they knew better than I do where to put my books and where to put my bookcases. My bookcases are not where I put them. I mean, they went through major changes, and they actually took out a stack of things that were ready to go into the shed. Some of the boxes they unpacked and scattered the stuff in a dozen different places. Some of the boxes they just moved and put behind my bed on the floor with other things stacked on top of them. So when the power went out, I couldn't find a candle. I'm hopping around on a broken hip with crutches or a cane, depending on how bad it hurts, looking for my candles in the dark. That was really helpful, people. Even the candles that I had out, one on the kitchen counter, two near my desk, they were packed up, gone, missing. And even the one big, long burning candle that I had under the table next to my desk, gone, missing, not there. How am I going to trip on things that are under a little low, kind of an end table or coffee table that's up against the wall with a bookcase on top of it? I'm not going to walk under the table. I'm not going to trip on those things. Somebody just had to see everything I own and arrange it the way they want it. That is highly intrusive. And I'm supposed to be working on my book, by the way. Ah, the light has drifted. Excellent. But I'm still searching for the research materials. So what I'm going to do is release another preview of the X and Exegesis. Expanded preview, at least on Amazon Kindle. I'm not sure whether I probably have enough pages to make a very thin paperback available, because it's the only way you'll have anything by Christmas. But I am so ticked off. I can't even find the copies of some of Phil's handwritten pages, just copies, not the originals. But you know, they were loose pages. I hope they didn't decide those were trash and throw them out. Found a bunch of papers that I had put aside for scratch paper, mixed up with the keepers, the loose pages that I'm keeping. I mean, everything is. I've been home since early September, and I'm still searching for things, and usually I find them when I stumble across them. I find things that I'm not looking for, but I go, oh, that's where it is. And I put it somewhere, but I don't have a mental picture of where I put things because all my furniture has been moved. It isn't just boxes of stuff which could have been shoved out of the way. And then, without asking me, they assumed that I would want to be able to get to my bed. And I told them myself repeatedly, I can't sleep on the bed. I have to use my recliner chair. Stack things on the bed if you want to move them. Or next to the bed. I don't need to get to it. The bed belongs to the cats for now. Nope, they cleared a path to my bed, so I can't even find my clothes, which were in plastic crates because I have winter clothes and summer clothes. And, of course, pajamas. I was separating skirts from jeans, t-shirts from skirts and jeans, and of course pajamas and such in another crate. Now they might not have ended up in those crates as their final destination, but that's what I was using to sort them. So I could, for example, get rid of things that are worn out, sell, give away, or donate things that don't fit me, and be able to find my winter clothes now that winter is here. It's hopeless. They're all a jumbled up mess again. They're unsorted. Now my box of jeans is intact, my box of t-shirts is intact. All the other things are all mixed up. Winter clothing, skirts, pajamas, underwear and socks. When I asked a friend to bring me things from my house while I was not here, I was able to tell her exactly where they were. Until I asked for a particular box of things that I use not every day but quite often, she couldn't find it. And now I know why. She had unpacked it and put all the things that used to be in it in a dozen different places. And I still haven't found my cat's bag of brand new catnip mice, which I was going to give her one at a time when she was bored. I'm pretty sure that someone just found that and gave all the catnip mice to the cat at once. Just dumped them out for her. And by the way, even Tora's toy box, the little box of kitty toys that I had down in the corner, under a table next to a bookcase full of her toys, even that was emptied out, the box put in a pile of trash. I had to get another box and find all her toys and put them back in her toy box. When Tora wants a toy, she goes to her box and gets one. So every once in a while, I pick up some toys and put them back in her toy box. No box. I had to find something to replace it while hobbling around on a broken hip. Yeah, it has titanium pins, two titanium pins in it, but it's still painful. And as the pain in my knee subsides, I notice the hip a lot more. I cannot tolerate prescription pain pills. I take aspirin or ibuprofen once in a while, but mostly I rely on the heating pad and the ice pack. And of course, the cats own the heating pad and the electric blanket. I even found my tax records taken out of the box they were in and mixed up with my son's school report cards from 30 years ago. Those were in a box of my son's things, not a box of my financial records. Somebody wanted to put something else in the box that I was using for my financial records. Yes, I'm angry. And I'm going to be angry. And I'm allowed to be angry. Even now, it's been September, October, November, 3 months since I came home. And I'm still angry because I still can't find things that I need. I've had to buy things that I already had. And get this, what else was missing? Food. Corn syrup, molasses, Ovaltine, malt powder, strawberry syrup, ice cream cones. Gone. And many of my kitchen tools I've had to search for. I wasn't burgled. These idiots thought they would help me because I had a broken hip and I might trip on things because my house is a mess. So rather than just, you know, stack things up out of the way so I wouldn't trip on them, they went through every box of everything I owned. They went through both of my desks, all my bookcases. They moved my furniture. They unpacked my boxes and scattered the things that belonged together into a dozen different places. They might as well have been burglars. And if I were really mean, I'd call the sheriff on them, but oh well. I'm mostly mad at one in particular because she threw out boxes because she thought the cat peed on them. My cats don't pee on cardboard boxes. They aren't idiots. I spilled my coffee. And I was gathering new boxes so I could just take the stuff out of the ugly coffee stained box and put it in a new box. But no, they had to unpack the boxes and repack things in a dozen different places because they thought that these didn't belong together, they should be with that stuff, and undid months and months of my work sorting them. They must have thrown out my ice cream cones. I had a box of ice cream cones that I bought at the grocery store. Well, I'm not sure what all is missing, Tim, because I know darn well that at least one box and one bag were thrown out with their contents, and one of them had $20 bills in it, hidden between stacks of papers. And yeah, the papers were water damaged, but I didn't throw them out because that was where I hid my $20 bills that I needed for shopping for groceries and cat food. Safe from burglars, not safe from helpful people. No, they're not junkies, they just disapprove of my pack rat habits. Now, one in particular. The other one really thought she was being helpful, but the one who threw out my boxes was being a nosy Nellie, just disapproved of what I do with my things and thought that gave her a right to throw them in the trash. They even unpacked boxes of books that I packed up to donate and put them on the shelves, the bookshelves, not all on one shelf, no, one here, one there. They even brought in a new bookshelf to hide things in. And I found artwork mixed up with books, mixed up with photographs, mixed up with Documents? No, they didn't steal anything, except I consider throwing my things in the trash theft. They deprived me of my things, and whether they threw them in the trash or kept them is not the issue. The issue is they came into my house while I was not at home and did what they wanted with my things. And I have to get rid of this new bookshelf they brought in because it just isn't working. First, I have to find all the books that belong in boxes and put them back into boxes. So at this point, I have some boxes that will probably do. You see, they have to be small boxes because I can't lift much. I have to repack all the boxes that belong in books, and that's why they were books that belong in boxes, and that's why they were in boxes. I have to find them and repack them and get rid of one shelf. It's just wrong. It doesn't work there. It doesn't belong there, and I didn't want that. If I had a choice, I'd hang it on the wall in the bedroom. But apparently, I don't get to decide what to do with my things. And they moved things that took two people to move. And here I am nursing a broken hip. I'm not going to move them. I'm going to have to pay some guy to do it for me because I can't trust them to do what I want with my things. Sorry for all the ranting, but I'm never going to get over this. It's almost as if they saw me naked. Going through everything I own. Unpacking the boxes that were sorted. Unpacking the boxes that were waiting to be sorted. Unpacking the boxes of things I use every day. And scattering things. And the worst part was the things that were on the floor, behind my bed, under other boxes. So once I did find them, there wasn't much I could do because I had a broken hip. When I finally found my box of candles, which was rather heavy, I had to get an old shopping bag and take out a few things, move a few things out to where I wanted them, go back and get a few more things in the shopping bag and move them out to where I want them, until finally I had an empty box to pick up and put that box where I want it, where I used to have it, and then refill it with all the things I took out of it. It's time consuming as well as maddening. I found my shoes, which I keep in a box, on top of the box of candles, with another couple boxes on top of my box of shoes. I don't have a lot of shoes. I'm not Imelda Marcos, but sometimes it's snowing, so I want my boots, and sometimes it's warm out, so I want my sandals. And I'm pretty much down to loafers now. It's just too difficult for me to tie my shoes because now I have two bum knees and it's hard to bend over and tie the shoes on my feet. Oh, Zelda Fitzgerald's room. Yeah, I'd like to see that. But I don't think I'd have the nerve to unpack things. I might open the lid to her jewelry box, but I wouldn't take the stuff out of it. That's another thing. Fortunately, they did not come across my good jewelry. I don't have much of it, but I have my grandmother's wedding ring. And that's about it, really. They did not come across that and hide it. I found it immediately when I got home. First thing I looked for when I saw what they'd done. Now, I would have appreciated it if they had come over after I was home and let me supervise. All that was necessary was to stack up some boxes on the hearth, and even that wasn't absolutely necessary. But if they really wanted some boxes out of the way, that's what they could have done. I don't use the fireplace, and they know that because the chimney hasn't been cleaned in a decade. So anyway, one of my tasks today is to climb up on the hearth and get the box of crap out of the window so I can put my poor herb garden in the window. My basil is dying. My parsley is dead. They need to be in the south. Oh, you know what? It's actually a north-facing window. I get turned around all the time. But for some reason, it gets more sun and stays warmer. Well, it's near the heater. But the way the trees and everything are arranged, it's the sunniest window I have. And see if my basil will survive if I put it in the window where I had it before. It's really having a bad time, but I had to keep it in the kitchen window because I could reach it to water things without climbing on the hearth. Anyway, I should get back to sorting things and writing things. But I've got a sinus headache and it's killing me. Oh well, I'm going to heat up my yams and put a little frosting on my banana bread. I wanted to strain, I had this big quart-sized tub of yogurt, plain yogurt, and I wanted to strain it through cheesecloth so it would be more like cream cheese, spreadable. Can't find the cheesecloth. I had to make do, so I found a thin cotton tea towel, boiled it to make sure it was clean, lined the strainer with the tea towel, and drained the yogurt in that. Well, it isn't as porous as cheesecloth. It's spreadable, but it's kind of loose and runny. Isn't at all what I had in mind. Well, most of my plants are outdoors. I'd like to get a Christmas cactus. Circle K. But basil doesn't like it outside here. Some people grow basil outdoors and it's fine. But I think maybe it's the snow, the extreme weather on the mountain. Anyway, it does much better indoors. I had one that lasted 3 years before it finally bolted. I kept trimming it back so it wouldn't bolt. That's where it kind of goes to seed. Um, just couldn't. Well, 3 years is a long time for a basil plant. They're usually good for 1 year, but outdoors here they don't thrive at all. So it lives in a window, a sunny window. You hear that, Tora? And my packing material, which I had separated, small boxes and folders in a box, and the bubble wrap in a plastic bag, I think half of it's missing. But what there is just a mixed up jumble in a box. Not at all the way I had it sorted, so I didn't have to paw through a bunch of boxes and envelopes to find my bubble wrap. Uh, some people use paper towels. I might try that for a second round of draining for my yogurt. I'm not gonna I I'm not gonna use an old t-shirt because mine are I don't have white ones. At least not that I can find. I'm not thrilled with the idea of ending up with a purple or red or blue sandwich spread. I'll try draining the yogurt through a paper towel, though that might work. If it doesn't fall apart and let all the yogurt drop through the strainer into the bowl. Anyway, I gotta get that book ready so you have something for Christmas. It'll probably be a little 50-page, which is about a fourth of what the finished book should be. There's no way I'm going to have my 200 pages in time for Christmas. I'm so discouraged. First, I break my hip and lose 3 weeks of work because I'm convalescing, and then I come home and I can't work because all my research materials are hidden in various places. They aren't even all in the same place. And I keep forgetting to buy foot powder. My little spray can of Desenex disappeared. I've got athlete's foot. It disappeared, along with some of the crystals that were in the same box as the can of Desenex. And the box is gone. It was a distinctive box. It was one that jam jars come in, because I used to make a lot of jam. That box is gone. And I know that it wasn't peed on. It was holding things that I needed to have close at hand because I use them every day. Plus my crystals, which I put there for safekeeping. Ha, they're gone. And I had a few other things in that box. At the moment, I'm unclear on what they were, but I used to know. But there's so many things like that that now, even when I put things somewhere, I just can't get the mental picture. They're not the same boxes, they're not the same furniture. And the furniture I had is not in the same place. I think I'm finally finished, maybe, with finding my clothes, even though they're all a jumbled up mess again. At least I know where the jumbled up messes are. But I can't find my bathroom towels. I know where my kitchen towels are because they didn't find those. They were in a drawer where they belong, and they're still there. I found things that I keep in the kitchen shoved into a cabinet in the living room. I found things that belong in the living room in the kitchen. I'm sure there's more things missing, but I can only hold so much information in the forefront at one time. The rest kind of has to wait in the back until I can pay attention to it. Anyway, I better get off. I've ranted and raved, and I just want you to buy my books. Well, the book with my story. There's 29 stories in this anthology, and they are all excellent. It's a sort of dream punk anthology, something like cyberpunk, punk, but more dream-like. So check it out. And if you read it, please review it wherever you review books. Ah, time to take a deep breath, try to relax, and get on with the day. And I have yams, real yams, to heat up and enjoy. Oh, by the way, I got my royalties. I think it was $1.89, something like that. But that was just uh, my share of the advance, which was quite small. But hey, it's a real publisher. And shared among 29 people, what is that? $60 plus the editor. Anyway, the first edition has sold, the first printing has sold out. They had to print more, or they will have to, because it was all pre orders. They hadn't printed it yet. But I got my author copy, which is cool. Okay, guys. Uh, I'm ready to rumble. Get that book available, my book available for you, even though it's just about a fourth of what it'll be when finished. At least that's something. And I'll catch you again. Same bat time, same bat channel.